Hi, this presentation is for the Project Knowledge community. Our VSU interns, graduate and undergraduate researchers, advisors, collaborators, and any other interested member of the Project Knowledge community. I call this presentation PK at PHS 2.1. In this presentation, I'll give a review of the prior iterations of Project Knowledge, an acknowledgement of some of the shortcomings of our current program, and my proposal for a new way forward. At the end, I will be asking something from you, but by then I hope that I've enrolled you in a new possibility for what Project Knowledge can be. As you know, PK began in 2014 as a near-peer mentoring program at Virginia State University, funded by the National Science Foundation. Over 8 years, several hundred students, and almost $2 million later, we know from following several cohorts that this model of near-peer mentoring works. First of all, several of the mentees became mentors, and those relationships have lasted even once the students have all graduated from Virginia State. In the early cohorts, we brought students to campus via a bridge program in which they were just with their mentors and other mentees for 7 days. We learned from that research effort that the mentoring group relationship was a very powerful tool for entering students, enabling them to adapt academic habits that would ensure their success. We also learned the power of the community, as the mentors involved in Project Knowledge reported a larger sense of mission, a desire to give back to others, and a commitment to their mentees, so much so that it influenced their own academic behavior. At the same time PK was developing, colleagues in the biology department were developing supplemental instruction. Like PK, supplemental instruction is not tutoring, remediation, and definitely not repeating of the class lecture. The peer leaders are trained to facilitate student learning. The peer leaders are actually members of the class, of the biology class, where they have already taken it and achieved high grades. They then hold their own office hours, so they know exactly what the professor is talking about, but they also know from their training how best to learn the material. This is the training that they provide for the students. Supplemental instruction is designed to be voluntary. Because the VSU version of SI is mandatory, elements of PK were added to the training that emphasize the importance of the peer leader-student relationship. Similarly, the results showing that strong relationships with peer leaders led to students being more likely to attend the sessions. Unfortunately, the biggest indicator of the importance of the relationship is what happened during remote learning. Participation markedly dropped due to COVID when the university was forced to go to remote learning. In 2019, PK moved to Petersburg High School with the intention of investigating whether the model would be effective at the high school level. We found some of the same results from the STAR supplemental instruction. Students who felt closer to their mentors reported more positive behavioral changes and were more likely to attend their high school classes. We definitely had better results when we were in person. So pre and post-COVID comparisons revealed that while old relationships could be maintained on Zoom, it was extremely difficult to forge new ones on the screen alone. Consequently, just like with supplemental instruction, our recruitment efforts also faltered. However, despite these challenges, we did find that our efforts were making a difference. First, we learned what we already knew, that COVID is hard on everybody, especially high school students. But we also learned that PK could contribute to their ability to cope with a lot of the things that they were having to deal with because of remote learning. We found that students expressing that they were more anxious could be helped to relax by learning breathing techniques. Students could be helped to organize their academic lives and better communicate their needs to people in a way in which they were more likely to enroll them in assistance. They also enjoy learning about Black history and getting assistance with the complexity of college applications and also job applications. But of course, our stakeholders are most concerned about grades. The National Science Foundation is our funder, Community in Schools our research partner, and Petersburg City Public Schools our client, if you will, and all wish to see grade improvement. And we do too. But at the same time, we understand that grades are not, while important, are not the end all be all, because there's plenty of research that shows that life skills, character traits, values, many things that correspond with good grades are more important to having a successful life. However, as I said, our stakeholders are interested in grades, and in truth, grades can't tell you more than just what the student knows about the content. Grades can also indicate a person's self-discipline, tenacity, determination, and initiative, because it takes a long time and many inputs to have a high grade point average. These days, many employers are looking for employees with moral character traits, such as respect and honesty. Not all Petersburg High School students aspire to go to college, but all of them want to be self-sufficient and employable, so these performance and moral character traits are important no matter what your career path. In fact, we learned from a concept mapping session with Petersburg High School's parents that these skills, the ones that would help you get and keep a job, were what they hoped that their students would get from a PK mentor. We also learned that the students wanted a mentor to help them to do better in school. Because of this, Project Knowledge needs to provide both moral character development and performance character development. So how do we do both? Focus on performance and moral character development at the same time. Well, this is how we intend to do it for the spring semester of 2022. Focusing on just 3 things. Attendance at every class, every day that school is in session. Attendance and participation in Project Knowledge. And recruiting other students. We are now developing ways in which these 3 things will be monitored by the Team Excel platform, which is available on mobile devices, and once linked to outcome data like grades and attendance will make the record keeping and our point scoring much, much easier to do. However, it is not possible for PK or any program to place self-discipline, commitment, and teamwork into the hearts of any student. This they must do for themselves. But what we can do is to provide the precursors, the antecedents, the ingredients that will make it easier to adopt these traits. We seek to do this by using a positive psychology model that begins with the assumption that the students are whole and complete and have everything within them to excel in school and life. They have this already. Our task is to help them recognize it. So no, we don't provide the self-narrative, but what we do is give them examples and training in shifting one's self-talk or mindset in a positive direction. We can't make them come to school every day, but we can celebrate every single academic accomplishment, starting with attendance, moving on to homework, quizzes, and tests until we get to the semester grade, and then reward that accomplishment too. We don't tell them what should give their life meaning, but we certainly can open them up to ideas and people and experiences that will foster their engagement while they find meaning for themselves. We can't force a student to feel positive emotions, and these are trying times. But we can, within a mentoring relationship, foster a sense of belonging and a community in which the student is considered an important and vital contributing member. So the question on the table is this: how have the activities that we have been providing for performance and more moral character development helped us in propagating and promoting these character traits and moral moral character traits and performance character traits in our students. That is our task. Answering that question is the reason for this pivot. Research allows for pivots or iterations as the data indicates. We don't continue with programming just because we've always done it that way. We provide programming because the data supports it and allows us to measure our own effectiveness. We have used PVEST, the phenomenological variant of the ecological systems theory, as a guiding theoretical framework for the last 8 years. We used it to test our ideas around resilience and identity formation. We included aspects of Black psychology, sense of belonging, and mindfulness. And we don't plan to drop these program elements, but within this theoretical framework, we now plan to incorporate well-being, and in that way put our fingers on the scale for students' adaptive coping. In other words, we want PK to be more directly tied to measurable outcomes associated with positive psychology, and we hypothesize that being more positive, having more well-being, will result in higher grades. One of the most prolific contributors to positive psychology is Martin Seligman, who wrote a book called Flourish. In his PERMA theory, there are the 5 measurable elements that promote happiness. He says that the best approximation of what humans pursue for their own sake, these 5 things, because these elements are intrinsically motivating by themselves. So no one element defines well-being, but each one contributes to it. So I have made slight modifications in the ordering because I think of them in this order of progression. First, promoting positive emotions, just feeling good. Ability to access positive emotions such as love and gratitude and serenity, no matter what the outward circumstances. Now, you and I both know this is challenging. When your outward circumstances are difficult, it really can be hard to generate any type of gratitude. But yet, that is a skill that can be learned. Relationships. Drawing on the strength of positive relationships to encourage positive self-talk, and those relationships really formed during PK, and drawing on the maturity and the compassion of our mentors. Engagement, that ability to focus on activities that build and use your skills and challenge you. So obtaining that ability to be so absorbed in a task, so full of concentration that you don't even know when time is moving on. Can you imagine a student doing that, bringing that kind of focus to a math problem? Meaning, serving something bigger than yourself because you are confident in yourself and you know that you are a contributing member of the community. And finally, accomplishment. Pursuing mastery of something for its own sake, just because you can be good at it, just because you can be the best at it. Accomplishing success to serve the greater good, not just to amass for yourself. So that brings me to these final questions. Question number 1 and number 2 will be for our VSU mentors and researchers, but we are open to your suggestions as well. Please feel free to call me with any questions or concerns that you have about this presentation, because you are part of our community too. Thank you so much for caring about our young people and for your commitment to Project Knowledge.